Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Built on Faith Homestead, and where we like to talk about things like tiny houses and growing your own food and wild edibles. Like to talk about the Lord, all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Craziness in the world that we're living in, which is no shortage of craziness. No, for sure. But this is another Tiny House Talk. We typically do these on Monday, but we had some technical difficulties, and we're not able to put out any videos on Monday that have been since resolved. So you guys hopefully watched our making violet jelly video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. I hope you get out and try it. Put in a little bit of work and try some of that violet jelly. But today, we are going to talk about the realities of living in a tiny house with 3 kids. 3 kids. Now, I could see where possibly having 3 little kids may be a little bit easier than having like 3 teenagers in a tiny house, right? But they probably all have their pros and cons. Yeah, I would say so. But there are some realities that we want to talk about, good and bad. Once again, we are making a list. We tried to come up with like 5 good and 5 bad. We could not come up with 5 bad things, and it was harder to come up with the bad things. And as you'll see as we go through the list, our bad things kind of actually relate to our good things a little bit, the negative side of the good things. So we'll just dive off into one of these things. One of the good things, not as much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can't have as much stuff. So I know in our bigger house, stuff collected, and I didn't really worry about trying to go through it as far as the kids' stuff, toys, clothes, that kind of stuff. And in a tiny house, it kind of forces you to stay organized and to keep up with going through their things, but also because you don't have the room for all that stuff, like maybe in a bigger house.
That actually relates to one of our bad things, right? One of our negatives of having a tiny house with 3 kids is you always are going through stuff.
Yeah.
So you can't have as much stuff, but say one of the kids has like a birthday party, right? And maybe they get 2 or 3 baby dolls for their birthday from different grandmas or whatever, right? Well, then we have to go through their old baby dolls and get rid of some because they can't keep all of them.
They just don't have the room.
Just don't have the room, right? It's not that, right, you don't want your kids to have toys. And so I'm a little bit...
No kid needs 100
no.
baby dolls.
Well, that's what I was about to say, right? I'm a little bit old school. I'm like, they got 1 baby doll, they're fine. They can play with rocks and sticks when the weather's nice. All right. Good thing number 2 about being in a tiny house with 3 little kids is closeness. Not just physically close, but emotionally close to one another, right? So like the girls, they don't like to be split up much. No, not at all.
So they fight like cats and dogs, but at the same time they would do anything for each other.
Yeah.
And we can see that as young as they are now. And plus, in their loft, they sleep next to each other, and that's made them a lot closer, I think.
I think so too, yeah. Which is, and the world that we live in, we want our children to be close to one another. We hope they stay close to one another as they get older, especially. Number 3, good thing is the kids have to get, or do end up getting, involved in household things, right? So like if we're inside and we're cooking, the kids are just like 3 or 4 steps away from the kitchen, right? And they want to be involved because they want to do what mommy and daddy's doing. Which, if you guys seen, like Luella was helping make the violet jelly. And actually when we got done with the video and got done making the jelly, she was like, next time I want to help more, right? Leah, she likes to cook. She likes to sit on the counter and she's like, I want to cook, right? So it gets the kids involved in learning about those kinds of things, which is good, right? But the negative side of that, which is one of our bad things, is the kids are in everything all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So, true...
Even when you don't want them to be.
Yeah, true and real talk, right? Sometimes you just want to cook dinner. Yeah. And you just want to get done, and you want to eat, and you want everybody to go to bed. But then it's hard whenever Leah or Luella's like, I want to help. And what gets me is when she's like, Daddy, will you teach me? Right? And it's like, oh, No, I just want to get this done, right? And I want to eat. So there are times where it would be nice to have, like, where your kitchen's maybe off to the side, where they can be in the living room, kind of out of sight, out of mind. I think the benefits outweigh the problems, right? We would a lot rather our kids be involved and have those few times where we're just like, just let me cook this, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're like, why don't you guys go play in your loft? And the girls are like, yeah! And then you can kind of cook, right? But for the most part, the benefits outweigh the bad stuff. Number 4 thing about living in a tiny house with kids that we think is good for us, good to us, is it forces everybody outside more. Yeah. So we're an outside family anyway. We like to do things outside. We like to hunt and fish and go on walks and look for wild edibles and mushrooms and new places to find mushrooms and deer sheds and all that stuff. Working in the garden with animals, all that. We love all that stuff anyway. And then being in a tiny house, right? Kids get bored fairly easily, and they're like, well, let's go outside and play, right? And we'll go outside. Yeah. So that's a good thing, right? The number 5, what we think good reason or good thing about having kids, little kids, in a tiny home is it starts them learning that they don't have to keep up with the Joneses, as the old saying goes, right? So we passed a... I hope it's okay that I tell a story. I'm going to tell a story. I hope it's okay. You can edit it out if it's not. But we passed a parking lot the other day with a whole bunch of these shed buildings in it. You remember that? We drove past it, and Luella was riding in her car seat, in her seat there, and she looked out the window and she goes, Daddy, they sure sell a lot of houses. Right? I just got tickled and we had a good laugh about it, right? We want our children... It's not that you can't have nice things, right? That has nothing to do with it. We don't want our children to feel like you have to keep up with the Joneses. You have to keep up with your neighbors and the people around you, and you have to do everything. A big part of what we want to teach our children is God loves them with who they are, and they're beautiful the way that they are. They don't need. If they want some of that stuff, that's fine, but they don't need any of that stuff, right? Yeah. That kind of stuff. We want them to learn that they don't have to do those types of things necessarily, that they can be happy without that kind of stuff. Yeah. Right? To find some true happiness. We forgot one of the bads. And this was, so we had 3 bad things. I told you guys 2. The last bad thing I would say about having a tiny house with this many kids, these many little kids, is when one of us gets up in the morning, right? Everybody's up, right? I'm hoping and believing that may get better with time, right? As everybody gets more and more used.
Leah sleeps through the night.
Yeah, Leah sleeps through the night.
It's just Bo that gets up sometimes. Which, when we first moved here, and Bo would get up, if he would get up pretty, real early in the morning and then maybe go back to sleep, Leah... she was in a lighter sleep because it's real early in the morning, so she may get up once in a while, but now she doesn't get up at all. They're getting used to it.
Yeah. It's just in that morning. It's like that 5 a.m. time. Yeah. Right? Like you wake up at 5 and you're like, well, I'm going to get up, and you start stirring around like the kids are going to get up. Yeah. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, I guess, but also sometimes you want them to be able to sleep in because of the way your day is going to be structured, and maybe they won't get a nap till later or something like that. Yeah. And sometimes it's kind of hard to get your day started because you're like, well, let's just, stay here for a little while and try not to get the kids up, right, or whatever it is. So that would be one of the negatives. Overarching, we still feel like it's the way to go for our family. Yeah. Right? Mostly because, once again, we feel like the Lord told us to live this way. And secondly, we think that there are so many benefits that outweigh the negatives that it's completely worth it for us and our family.
Yeah. These aren't make it or break it things. There's things that, your routine or your living may not be the same as someone else, but it's things that you deal with because you love it.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going through the book of Proverbs there at church on a Wednesday night study, and one of the things we talked about was serving the Lord the way the Lord wants you to serve Him, right? So Abraham didn't have to build Noah's Ark, right? Moses didn't have to preach on the day of Pentecost whenever Peter stood up and preached, right? The Lord has everybody do things differently. And for some people, the Lord may want, and I said this in our Wednesday night class, is like the Lord may want you to have a 5,000 square foot house and take in a bunch of orphans, or may want you to have a great big house and house evangelists as they travel through, or something like that, right? So you just need to do what the Lord wants you to do, right? But I do think that there's maybe people that would like to live this style of life, but they're just scared of it. And I don't want you to be scared of it, right? All things come with sacrifice. A bigger house will come with sacrifice, right? A smaller house will come with sacrifice. All things come with sacrifice. So you just have to figure out what you are willing to sacrifice, I reckon. And that's the other reality, is you got to catch kids whenever they're throwing toys off the table. Guys, we want to thank you guys for watching our videos, for supporting us, for helping us, for sharing our content. We want to thank all you guys for that. Really, at the end of the day, this is about helping people the best that we know how, and once again, the way we feel like we are supposed to. And so we want to thank you guys for watching. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel if it's something you enjoy watching. If you like the content, go a long way to helping us out. Can you say bye, Bobo? We'll see you guys later.
Bye.